It's wild to think how quickly the world of shopping has transformed. I mean, keeping pace with the latest changes in retail, it feels like a constant sprint.
It really is.
But today, we're going to slow things down a bit and
Uh,
really dig into a concept that's become pretty foundational: new retail.
exactly. Back in 2016, Jack Ma of Alibaba, he introduced this idea of new retail, and at its core, it signifies this blurring of lines,
Yeah.
between the online and offline shopping worlds.
Right.
It's about these two sort of previously distinct realms becoming really deeply intertwined.
And a prime example of this in action is Alibaba's Hema Fresh. They really shook things up, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Giving customers just a multitude of options for how they purchase and receive their groceries. You could browse the aisles, buy in person, order online for home delivery, or even shop in the store and then schedule a later delivery. It was all about putting you, the consumer, in the driver's seat.
And Jack Ma had a very, very clear vision for the future. He famously stated that the era of e-commerce is ending. The era of new retail is here,
Wow.
predicting that this integrated approach, well, it would eventually become the standard for pretty much all retailers.
Which, looking back, that was quite a bold prediction.
It really was.
Even after Hema Fresh launched in 2017, there was still considerable doubt. It took a while for the full implications to really sink in.
But the fundamental principle is actually quite straightforward. It's about empowering you, the shopper, right, by offering choices that align with your convenience at any given moment.
It's also interesting to recall the store warehouse integration concept. That was championed by Yijie.
Yeah.
He initially brought this idea to JD and later to Alibaba with Hema Fresh. And initially, traditional e-commerce companies were actually quite hesitant.
They were very hesitant about the whole idea of incorporating physical stores into their model.
Why was that?
Well, the dominant thinking in pure e-commerce was really to minimize physical assets, avoid the perceived complexities of traditional retail operations.
Okay.
However, Hema Fresh's success, well, it presented a pretty compelling counterargument. Their sales per square foot significantly outpaced traditional supermarkets,
Right.
and online orders were contributing a huge portion of that revenue.
This even led to some initial misunderstandings in the media, didn't it?
It did.
You'd see reports focusing on seemingly empty Hema Fresh stores, maybe during off-peak hours.
Exactly. And what those observers didn't realize was the immense volume of online order fulfillment happening, behind the scenes.
Ah, so the store wasn't just a store.
Precisely. The physical store had really evolved into this hybrid, a place for in-person shopping and a crucial hub for online order fulfillment.
Right.
Now, the general consensus is quite clear. Traditional retail models, the ones relying solely on physical storefronts, they're facing significant headwinds. Integrating online capabilities isn't just a competitive advantage anymore. It's becoming a necessity for survival.
Okay, let's really get into the details here. Because today, we're not just discussing the theory. We're going to take a deep dive into how traditional retail sectors, specifically thinking department stores, supermarkets, convenience stores, how they're actually adapting to this new retail reality.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we'll be examining real-world examples from China to see these changes in action.
Yes, and for this deep dive, we have two primary sources we're looking at. One is an article, 039.txt, which gives some valuable insights into how different retail formats are, embracing new retail.
Okay.
The other is a 2020 report, 2020, and that offers a more sort of formal analysis of omnichannel and digital advancements in physical retail.
Got it.
So we'll be drawing information from both to try and paint a clear picture of what's happening.
Great. So let's start with department stores. They were actually among the first to sort of venture into e-commerce, weren't they?
They were, yeah. Many department store groups established online sales channels relatively early on. However, they encountered this unique challenge.
Yeah.
How do you integrate technology while still preserving that sense of brand prestige?
Oh.
Especially in the luxury sector. I mean, consider the potential conflict between the personalized service you expect in a high-end store and, say, the self-service nature of online shopping or even self-checkout.
That's a really insightful point. The whole experience of buying luxury goods, it often involves a certain level of personal attention that, can be hard to replicate online or with automated systems.
Exactly.
So how have some of the major players in China addressed this? Let's look at the Bailian Group first.
Okay, Bailian. Yeah, they're a massive entity, the largest retail conglomerate in China, actually. Over 7,000 stores spanning all sorts of formats. In 2016, they made a pretty significant move by consolidating their 3 separate e-commerce platforms into just one site, bl.com.
Okay.
And they also launched Bailing Diogeia, promising 1-hour delivery, what's often referred to as shuyu, basically meaning to-home service, delivery right to your door.
That sounds like a huge undertaking for such a large, diverse organization. What kind of results have they seen?
Well, they've hit some obstacles, honestly, with online sales, which have stayed below 2% of their total revenue.
Only 2%.
Yeah. The article highlights this brand unification challenge. Consumers tend to strongly identify with the individual department store brands within the group, like, say, Shanghai Nongwen Department Store.
Right.
So consequently, the overarching Era brand, it doesn't necessarily resonate as strongly with them when they're shopping online.
Okay, that makes sense. Loyalty is to the specific store, not the parent company online.
Pretty much. And also, their 1-hour delivery service only covered about 82% of their e-commerce product range, which leads to potential inconsistencies in what customers expect.
So you might think you can get that rapid delivery, but then maybe not.
Exactly.
Despite these hurdles, it sounds like their ambitions are still pretty significant, though.
Oh, absolutely. They've set a very ambitious target to increase their e-commerce transaction volume to 30 billion yuan within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Which really underscores their recognition that, they critically need to strengthen that online presence.
Now let's turn our attention to another big player, TAS, the Dalian Dashang Group. Their focus is more on the luxury end of department stores, right?
Yes, Dashang is based in Dalian, operates about 160 stores, including their Maikal and Shinmart supermarket brands, too.
Right.
Interestingly, they were also early adopters of e-commerce. They launched Tashang Tianguang quite early, back in 2014.
Okay.
And they've actually seen a pretty considerable portion of their sales come from online, something like 30 billion yuan out of their total 328 billion yuan.
Wow, that's a much higher online penetration compared to Balian.
It is significantly higher.
So what has been their more recent strategy then?
Well, during the pandemic, they invested heavily in live commerce.
Ah, live streaming sales.
Yeah. And what's particularly noteworthy here is that they empowered individual store staff to conduct regular live streams, sometimes as often as 3 to 5 times per week.
That's a serious amount of live streaming.
Yeah.
What was the thinking behind that approach?
Well, it facilitated a much more direct, more engaging interaction between the sales staff and the customers, fostering relationships and driving engagement in a way that, frankly, traditional static online shopping often just can't replicate.
Right, it brings some of that personalized in-store feel into the online space.
Exactly.
What about Chongqing, the Chongqing department store group? They operate mainly in Western China, if I recall.
That's correct. Chongqing Department Store Group is the largest retail group in Western China. They've got department stores, supermarkets, electronics stores, the whole lot. They also launched their e-commerce platform, Kuro, Century Go, back in 2014. Initially, they sort of carved out a niche by focusing on imported cosmetics and baby products.
Ah, interesting angle.
Yeah, positioning themselves as a primary channel for international goods in the Chongqing area. Chongqing's window for imported goods, I think, was the idea.
So they found a specific online segment to target. What about their broader new retail strategy? How did that evolve?
Well, their digital transformation really kicked into high gear after Isu Wumart and Wu Bubugao became shareholders in 2019.
Okay, new investors brought new focus.
Seems like it. They implemented the Dimall system, which is basically an integrated platform for managing customer data and product information centrally.
Right.
And crucially, it enabled their Quti, that to-home service. This platform, Dimall, likely integrates everything: point-of-sale data, online orders, customer profiles, giving them a holistic view.
So the DMall system was foundational for their online integration. How widely did they roll it out?
The report indicates that 173 of their supermarkets are using Dimall now, and 113 of those are offering the Chiru. They've also started incorporating live commerce like Dashang, with 54 stores having staff conduct live streams.
Seems like live commerce became a really common tactic.
It really did, especially during the pandemic. They achieved significant online sales, over 900 million yuan, and also established close to 1,000 community service stations.
Community service stations, what are those exactly?
They likely serve as local hubs, maybe for order pickup, perhaps other services too. It further integrates the online and offline, enhancing customer convenience.
Got it. Okay, let's move on to Shero. Wang Fujing department store based in Beijing, and they're a very well-established name.
Definitely. And Wang Fujing has indeed been quite proactive in adopting an omnichannel approach. They started their efforts back in 2016.
Oh, quite early then.
Yeah, they focused on delivering services across multiple channels, especially using WeChat and its mini programs, enabling customers to make inquiries, get purchase consultations. They even introduced Earn, which is essentially a reservation service. Lets customers buy and pay online, then just collect their items in store.
So even before new retail was the big buzzword, they were already thinking about connecting these different customer touchpoints.
Absolutely. And before we go further, maybe it's worth just quickly defining omnichannel.
What idea?
It's basically integrating all the available channels online, mobile, physical stores, the whole shebang, to provide a really seamless experience for you, the customer.
Okay, seamless integration. What does their online presence look like today then?
They maintain an active presence with their own e-commerce site, but they've also established a flagship store on Alibaba's Tmall, just ensuring they have broad reach.
Makes sense.
And like many others, they really embraced live commerce during the pandemic, hosted an impressive 1,200 sessions.
1,200, wow.
Yeah. Reached over 10 million viewers, generated 200 million yuan in sales. These streams often involve, product demos, special discounts, direct interaction with staff. Much more engaging than just browsing a catalog online.
Those are really significant numbers. It sounds like live commerce became absolutely vital for them.
It certainly seems so. And they've further committed to this by partnering with ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, and even creating their own dedicated live commerce studio.
Interesting move. A strategic pivot towards TikTok.
Yeah, seems like they're really leaning into leveraging TikTok's immense popularity for online sales.
Okay, now, Karen, Intime department store based in Hangzhou, they're often cited as a really successful example of new retail transformation. What sets their approach apart?
Intime's core strategy, it seems to have been prioritizing the synergy between their physical stores and their online channels, not just viewing online as simply an additional sales outlet.
Okay, synergy, not just addition.
Exactly. They were also early adopters of live commerce, starting back in 2019. But their primary objective, interestingly, was more about driving foot traffic to their physical locations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and enhancing engagement with their sales staff, who they sort of envisioned acting more like personal concierges.
So their live streams weren't mainly focused on immediate online sales.
Not as the number one goal, it seems. They saw it more as a mechanism to generate interest, cultivate those relationships with staff online, and then really encourage customers to actually visit the physical stores.
Okay.
They also offered the home delivery, but it was positioned more for specific customer service needs, like, say, you urgently need cosmetics before a date, rather than being a core driver of sales volume.
That's a fascinating approach, using the online tools to actually amplify the value of the physical store itself. Did this strategy work for them?
It seems it did. In 2019, they reported a pretty significant sales increase, 24.2%, which they directly attributed to this integrated strategy.
Impressive.
And then during the pandemic, they massively expanded their live commerce team to 5,000 people. They essentially became known as a cloud department store during lockdowns.
Wow, 5,000 live streamers. So looking across these different department store examples, Bailian, Dashang, Chongqing, Wangfujing, Intime, what are some of the common themes, the key takeaways?
Yeah, several key insights really stand out. Firstly, that brand unification challenge we saw with Bailian. That seems to be a recurring issue for these large retail groups with multiple established sub-brands.
Right.
Consumers often have strong loyalty to the individual department store names, but don't necessarily connect the same way with a unified parent company's online platform.
So the online platform needs to leverage the existing store brands better.
Exactly. Secondly, the more successful department stores like Intime have really focused on creating that synergistic relationship between physical and online, not just treating online as a separate add-on.
Yeah, using live commerce to drive in-store visits is a great example.
Precisely. It highlights that key insight. Online platforms really need to consider and leverage that existing brand recognition rather than trying to force a new, less familiar parent brand onto people.
It's really about that multiplicative effect, not just adding things on. Like one of our sources put it, store times new retail.
Exactly that. And finally, it's really evident that a strategic, thoughtful implementation of new retail is crucial. It needs to be guided by a deep understanding of the core brand identity and how technology can enhance it, not just blindly following trends or copying competitors.
That makes perfect sense. Now, let's switch gears and move on to supermarkets. Our source material suggests they've perhaps felt the most direct impact from the rise of fresh food e-commerce and new retail.
That's definitely accurate. The growth of online grocery delivery has created a huge sense of urgency for supermarkets to adapt. And Che, too, that crucial to-home delivery capability, it's become absolutely central and, frankly, non-negotiable in their new retail strategies. This to-home service, meaning rapid delivery, it's become a key battleground in China's retail landscape, fundamentally changing what you, the consumer, expect.
So for supermarkets, getting groceries to people's homes quickly seems to be the name of the game. Let's look at Chia, RT Mart. They're mentioned as a leader here.
Yeah, RT Mart. It's a supermarket chain with Taiwanese capital, about 400 stores, and they've certainly learned some valuable lessons in e-commerce. Their first attempt, with a PC-based platform called Yijie, Faniwam, back in 2013, well, it didn't really achieve significant traction.
So they had to pivot. What were the key changes they made?
The real pivotal moment seems to be their partnership with Alibaba in 2017.
Alibaba again.
Yes. They shifted their main focus to mobile, launching the RT Mart Yuxian app specifically for that critical one-hour delivery service.
Mobile first.
Definitely. And they also found considerable success with their B2B sure, that provides fresh food deliveries to businesses like restaurants.
Okay, so they're hitting both B2C and B2B markets. What else makes their delivery so efficient?
Well, they've made significant investments in a network of KI, or front warehouses. These are strategically located really close to their stores.
Front warehouses,
Yeah,
like mini fulfillment centers closer to customers.
exactly. Allows for that really fast delivery we've been talking about. This whole infrastructure enables them to efficiently deliver within a 30-kilometer radius. And they achieved a very impressive on-time delivery rate, 99.5% back in 2019.
Wow, that's a serious logistical operation.
Right.
And it's clearly paying off for them.
Absolutely. They've seen substantial growth in both their B2C, like 90% annually, and their B2B, 50% annually fresh food e-commerce segments. Big numbers.
Okay, next up, let's discuss Frizhu Yongwei. They apparently felt a significant sense of crisis when Hema Fresh appeared on the scene.
They certainly did. Yonghui, with its huge network of supermarkets, over 1,200 stores, they recognized the potential disruption pretty quickly.
So how do they respond?
They developed distinct sub-brands specifically tailored for new retail. They launched Yijie, super species, which are positioned as more sort of premium supermarket offerings,
Okay.
and Yonghui Life, which is their convenience store format, about 177 of those.
So they segmented their market offerings under these different brands. How does their UE service fit into this multi-brand strategy?
They basically streamlined their back-end logistics and launched the Yuyo service, which is available across all their Yonghui brand formats, the main supermarket super species, Yonghui Life.
Ah, unified back end.
Exactly. The idea is Yonghui Supermarket covers your daily fresh goods, Super Species offers the more high-end stuff, and Yonghui Life provides immediate convenience, but all leveraging the same underlying delivery system.
Clever. And how did that perform?
Well, their service sales actually doubled during the pandemic, really underscoring its growing importance to their overall business. It became a key focus for them in 2020.
Let's consider a global player now, Tanny, Walmart. They have a pretty significant presence in China, right?
Yeah.
Around 280 stores.
They do. And Walmart in China took an interesting route initially. They formed partnerships with both Tencent and JD.com back in 2016
Yeah.
to enter the Edo service market via JD Daojia, JD's platform. But it seems after those initial collaborations didn't fully meet their strategic goals, they decided to launch their own independent series service in May 2019.
Okay, so they brought it in-house for greater control. What other digital things have they implemented?
They introduced a mini program called Eddy, which lets you do in-store scan and pay. That started back in April 2018.
Scan and go, yeah.
And during the pandemic, like others, they saw a huge surge, 15 times increase in series service orders, 4 times revenue increase from it.
Massive acceleration.
Yeah. And they also had plans, I believe, to upgrade their stores with facial recognition self-checkout tech by 2022.
It really seems the pandemic just turbocharged the adoption of all these digital services for so many retailers.
Absolutely. It was a major catalyst.
What about Terray? Carrefour. another major international supermarket chain. How did they fare?
Carrefour in China was somewhat slower in its initial response to new retail. Their early e-commerce site and app didn't really gain much traction.
Hmm.
Eventually, in June 2019, they were actually acquired by Suning.
Ah, acquired by Suning. That's a big change. How did Suning influence their new retail strategy?
Well, Suning basically integrated Carrefour into their existing pretty comprehensive ecosystem, which includes their e-commerce platform and their convenience store network.
Okay, plugging them into a bigger network.
Exactly. And this integration enabled them to pretty quickly roll out a 1-hour delivery service within a 3-kilometer radius of Carrefour stores. And similar story again, their service orders surged during the pandemic, 5 times increase in February, mostly fresh food.
Fresh food seems key.
Very much so. They also expanded their delivery range eventually to 10 kilometers with half-day delivery and implemented self-checkout and scan and pay in the stores, too.
So looking at the supermarket sector overall, RT Mart, Yongli, Walmart, Carrefour, what are the main trends, the big takeaways here?
Well, the most significant takeaway, without a doubt, is that terror service has become absolutely essential. It's table stakes now for supermarkets to stay competitive.
Right, non-negotiable.
Absolutely. Also, the traditional model of those huge out-of-city hypermarkets, it's becoming increasingly less aligned with modern consumer lifestyles. We're seeing a resurgence of smaller, more conveniently located supermarket formats.
Interesting shift back towards the neighborhood store almost.
Kind of. And while many supermarkets initially focused on enhancing the in-store experience with tech like self-checkout, it seems the most substantial impact, the real game changer, has come from effectively mastering home delivery.
So delivery trumped in-store tech.
In terms of immediate impact, yes. And finally, the leading supermarkets like RT Mart and Yonghui, they're making significant investments in expanding their delivery networks, building those front warehouses, developing sub-brand store formats, all to reach more customers more efficiently.
All right, let's pivot now to our final category, convenience stores. They present, a somewhat different scenario, don't they? Because their fundamental value proposition is already convenience.
Precisely. With their huge network of small, super accessible stores, the immediate need for that errand service, home delivery, it isn't quite as obvious a fit compared to, say, supermarkets.
Right, you can usually just pop out and grab something quickly.
Yeah.
So how have they been adapting to this new retail landscape? Let's start with Yijie. That's the massive chain run by Sinopec, the oil company.
Yeah, Yijie. China's largest convenience store chain, 30,000 stores, mostly at Sinopec gas stations. And they've actually achieved a really unique kind of success with air service that leverages those locations.
How so?
They've seen significant demand for a smartphone order plus in-store pickup model. Basically, customers order on their phone and then conveniently collect their stuff while they're refueling their car.
Ah, that's smart, killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Exactly. And this contactless pickup method, where staff might even place the goods in the car trunk, that proved particularly popular during the pandemic.
Makes sense.
They've even integrated the refueling process itself with mobile app ordering and payment so customers can do the whole transaction without even leaving their car. Total convenience.
That's a really ingenious way to use their existing infrastructure and captive audience, so to speak.
It really is.
What about the big Japanese convenience store chains in China? Family Mart, Lawson, 7-Eleven. They have thousands of stores too.
They do. Family Mart around 2,800, Lawson 2,700, 7-Eleven 2,100 stores. But they've been comparatively slower in developing their own proprietary services.
Why is that, do you think?
Well, their inherent strength is that massive network of conveniently located stores. Their core value is already extreme proximity.
So they don't feel the same pressure for delivery.
Not quite in the same way. Instead of building their own extensive delivery systems, they primarily partner with third-party instant delivery platforms. Think Meituan, Eli.me for Shia service.
Okay.
And this is mostly used during late-night hours or maybe off-peak times when popping out is less convenient.
So it complements their main offering.
Exactly. Their main strategic focus seems to be more on leveraging their apps and mini programs to build customer loyalty membership programs, points, coupons, and using all that POS data for really effective merchandising, fine-tuning what products they stock based on what sells.
So for them, it's less about widespread delivery, more about enhancing the convenience of the existing store and immediate neighborhood access, plus loyalty.
That sums it up well.
What are the key takeaways then for the convenience store sector in this new retail era?
Well, number one, Their primary advantage remains that widespread physical presence, that proximity to you. Services are more of a supplementary offering, often via third parties, catering to specific needs or times. Digital engagement, though, is crucial for them, for fostering loyalty, optimizing their product mix based on sales data. And for convenience stores, new retail isn't just about online ordering. It's fundamentally about using technology to further reduce friction and cost for those immediate purchases, really building on their existing neighborhood store advantage, making it even easier, even faster.
So we've now looked across department stores, supermarkets, and convenience stores. And it's really clear there's no single universal formula for new retail success, is there?
Absolutely not. The overarching principle, really, across all these sectors is that a one-size-fits-all strategy just doesn't work. It's not effective.
Right.
The retailers who are succeeding, who are thriving, are the ones carefully tailoring their new retail approaches to fit their specific brand identity and, crucially, the unique needs of their customer base.
And it's definitely not just about tacking on online sales channels as some kind of afterthought.
Precisely. That misses the point. New retail is really about strategically, thoughtfully integrating technology to amplify the core value proposition of the business itself.
Jack Ma's prediction back then, that all retailers will become new retailers. It certainly seems to be unfolding, albeit in a variety of really interesting, sometimes unexpected ways.
It really is. And the examples we've looked at today, they clearly illustrate how these forward-thinking companies are leveraging these integrated strategies, not just for sales growth, but actually to cultivate deeper, more meaningful customer engagement and build much stronger brand loyalty for the long haul.
So to sort of wrap up this deep dive into how traditional retail in China is adapting to new retail, it's clear it covers way more than just setting up an online shop. It represents a really fundamental shift in how retailers connect with you, the consumer, offering these unprecedented levels of flexibility and convenience.
And as we've discussed, the strategies being rolled out are incredibly diverse. What works for a high-end department store isn't necessarily the right path for a supermarket focusing on fresh groceries or for a corner convenience store. That deep understanding of their own specific context, their own customer base, is absolutely paramount for every type of business.
Definitely. So here's maybe a final thought for you to consider. As a consumer yourself, how do all these ongoing changes in retail actually impact your own shopping habits, your expectations? What innovative integrations of online and offline experiences do you find most compelling? Or maybe what future developments might you anticipate seeing down the road? It's clear this retail evolution is far from over, and those lines between online and offline commerce will likely just continue to blur.
It'll be fascinating to watch.
It certainly will. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.